Back when I was broke, they was cool with it. Now every move I make, I'm in the news with it. Even if I ain't do it, they be like, you did it. My teacher always used to tell me, you gon' lose, nigga. That's why I never...
What's Gucci fam? I'm back once again, guys, with another banger, with another video. What's Gucci fam? I'm back again with another video, guys. Today we're speaking about supply and demand. So guys, it's been a minute, but we're back, we're back and we want to work. So guys, before I start, can you please like, share, subscribe to this channel, so we can post more, So nonetheless, let's get into it. So first, guys, you know that I like to outline my highest point, lock it in, and outline my lowest point, lock it in. So after this, guys, I'm gonna be creating support and resistance zones. So don't get it twisted between supply and demand and support and resistance, because supply and demand is where the bigger movements start, it's where bigger movements happen. They produce the movements, and then support and resistance, they prevent the market from passing that zone. Like a resistance, or let me start like a support. This is a support which prevented the market from passing here. You see, this is a support. Can you understand what I'm saying? But then when we talk about a supply, we talk about something like this, where bigger movements happen. And look, in that same region, bigger movements happen again. So these things about supply and demand, they can be very tricky, but very easy at the end of the day, So you just have to practice until you get it perfect. So there we have resistance. So this one, it's not a resistance or support, it's a supply. So I'm not gonna outline this one as being my resistance. You can see one proper resistance there. Fine. So after I'm done with that, I'm gonna outline my trend line. Gonna outline my trend, which guides me if I have to sell or if I have to buy. Bottom. Fine. So let me just give you an explanation of supply and demand, and then we get back to the chart. So we'll be having our supply here. Let's make this our supply. Our supply. Let me just copy this as being my supply, and then why is it tripping? And then I will clone this to make my demand, to make my demand. So I'm gonna bring these two closer, and then I'm gonna give my support and resistance. So now let's draw our support and resistance, this being my resistance and this being my support. So fine, guys, I will have one more zone placed here in representing support and resistance. So let's have the market structure move. So I want to explain what support is. Support is a zone which prevents the market from going to the downside. It keeps the market in that zone, and after it catches the demand, it creates a bigger movement. And if it creates a bigger movement like this, you have to know that, okay, this is a strong zone. This is now where you get your demand. Understand what I'm saying? So you can't just draw a demand out of the blue thinking that this is a demand. No, the demands, they come by bigger the market creating bigger movements. So the market will create something like this, and it will still show you that, okay, fine, now we can see this is a support again. But what happens to the market after hitting this support? It hits the demand, the supply, and it comes down hard to the downside, which shows you that, okay, fine, this is now my supply, because it has stopped a bigger movement and created a bigger movement. So this is my supply, this is my demand, this is my support. This is not yet your resistance. We will come there, but now you have your support, your your support and resistances here, and you have your supply, your demand and your supply. So this one moves to the top side, comes back, has to retrace this, moves down, market moves to the top side, creates this head and shoulder and pushes hard to the upside. You know why I'm saying the market should push till this point? It's not me saying that okay, the market can sometimes also break your supply or your demand, because the market has to move from these zones eventually, but they are there to give you the bigger trades, the bigger momentum. So I want to explain why this market moved like this, why I made it move like this, you know. So now we have got our resistance here. Fine. So guys, as you can see, the market had an uptrend here, had a up channel to the top side, né? And after the market broke this channel, it retested this channel and ended up selling hard, you know. So these trend lines, they can actually give you signals, but you have to know your supply and demand, your support and resistances to take a trade, you know. So this one has broken to the upside, retested on the demand zone, and then pushed to the upside, retested and still pushed hard to the upside, which now gives me my second demand, you know, which now gives me my second demand. You see, so demand, and so when I have to move to the right side again from the market, I create new demands and new supplies. You know, the market has to move from here eventually. The market can move to the top side, guys, like this, and then give us a bigger movement again to the bottom side, you know, which gives us an indication that okay, we are creating some kind of supply here, because this thing stopped a bigger movement, you know. So that's basically it when it comes to supply and demand in the explanation part. So I want to go to the real chart and explain to you supply and demand, so you cannot just be seeing virtual things and making mistakes, you know. So guys, once we come to 100 subscribers, I'll be dropping a live trading session, or if that's not possible, I'll be dropping a NFP live trading video where I trade with my mentees, where I trade with people who pay for seats, guys, so you guys can see how we operate, you know. So let me just get the supply out of the way. So now I can see that this is my supply, right? This is my supply. This is my supply. So if the market tends to come here, I'm gonna sell hard, but I have to wait for confirmation always. So if the market tends to come there, I'm gonna sell very hard. So that's my supply, guys. Let me get my demand. So reason being, I'm gonna outline this one. It's because it created a bigger movement. It's because the market created a bigger movement, you know. So from the market creating a bigger movement there, I can identify that zone as my supply, as my demand. So let me just go down to my 4-hour time frame, guys, so we can now break down the Nasdaq market and find the direction, because we are done with supply and demand. So guys, as you can see, we have some channel here that Nasdaq is forming, right? The market did give us some kind of retracement here, so we are gonna say this is acting like a resistance. So we are not gonna trade from here until we see the market coming back to this trend line and showing us confirmation to buy, because now we are stuck in between two trend lines and we don't know what to do. Understand? So guys, we can see some kind of a zone build up here, which shows us that we have some kind of a support here, which supports the market to buy. Yeah, so guys, that's all today. I'll not be confirming market direction. This was only for supply and demand. Catch me on another video, guys.